Hey guys, I'm wanting to make this video today to address an issue that I'm assuming if you're watching this video, either you're having and are very, very, very frustrated and hopeless and looking for an answer here, um, or your maybe boyfriend or your husband is having an issue and you're trying to figure out what's going on about an issue known as erectile dysfunction. Now, I'm not talking about erectile dysfunction in the terms of if it's a physical thing, because that is a totally different thing, obviously. But if it's something that is being affected by specifically medication or some other things that I'll talk about, I can help you, I think, hopefully, understand how to make things better. I take Klonopin. I have taken Klonopin for about 10 years, and I started out taking 1 milligram a day. It was half a milligram in the morning and a half a milligram at night. Throughout the 10 years, I kind of fluctuated. I went from the 1 milligram all the way up to taking 3 milligrams a day, where I was taking 1 milligram in the morning, one in the middle of the day, and one at night. Um, and I can tell you that after 10 years, I never really put two and two together when it comes to this issue as far as erectile dysfunction, but it was quite recently, actually, I'd say within the last year, that I really figured it out and figured that that was a really important place to start because I had heard that antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication, specifically benzos, which obviously that's what Klonopin is, can cause this issue. So I really, the thing is though, is it's hard. It's really hard to, it's really hard to get off a medication that makes you feel okay. It's really hard to get off a medication that makes you feel normal, especially if you have a general anxiety disorder. My take on that is if you can do anything you can do to even just lower your dosage will be a tremendous help for you when it comes to your sex drive and your even ability to have an erection. I'll tell you on my end, a while back when I first found out about this, it was at a time when I was really, really, really frustrated. I felt like less of a man because I wasn't able to perform the way that I wanted to, and I was looking for all these different answers and doing anything I could to figure out how to make this work without having to go to a pill. I really didn't want to go to doing something like um, the blue pill, I guess we'll say. Doing that because, well, for one, when you have anxiety and you have panic attacks, um, those pills can make things worse when it comes to that area. So it's like you're trading one for the other if you do that. In most cases, people who have anxiety can't take those kinds of pills. So what I did was I looked up, what options I had as far as other pills that were still in the benzo family, so that I could maybe figure out a way to not have to go through withdrawals, but still be able to have the best of both worlds. And I found out very quickly I could not have that. I went to Xanax, which I had heard, was better. And after about a week of being on that, I went into a full blown. I mean, I was having withdrawals because I was taking it the same way I was taking Klonopin, which was once in the morning and once at night. By the way, um, before that, I was back down to taking 1 milligram a day. I was only taking 1 milligram a day. It was half a milligram in the morning, half a milligram at night, and that's what I started doing with Xanax. Found out very quickly it did not work. So I had to go back to Klonopin. Now I will say that when I switched, before I actually had the withdrawals that I had that were very, very, very rough, um, before that happened, I can tell you that things did actually get a lot better when it came to sex life. Like I wasn't really paying attention to it, but all of a sudden when I realized that I wasn't having any issues, I started paying attention to it. And I was like, wow, I was like, this is pretty cool. And then things happened. Think bad things happened. So I had to go back to my regular dosage of Klonopin. So I recently got in the same predicament where I became very frustrated, and I just decided I needed to get off from this medication. So I decided instead of just cutting myself off and going crazy like I did before with withdrawals, I'm just going to try cutting out my nighttime medication. Well, after I took my nighttime medication away, after about, I want to say it was probably 4 or 5 days later, and again, I wasn't really even paying attention. But when you know how frustrating this issue is, when it starts getting better, you take note of it right away. 4 or 5 days later, I mean, it was just like I couldn't get rid of it. I mean, it was when I was on Klonopin, there was two things that were really affecting me. I mean, I was at the point where I could have sex, and then I would have to wait probably 3 or 4 or 5 days to be able to have sex again, because my sex drive, really wasn't there, and also I didn't want to I just didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to think about the issues, and have to worry about failing again. I have taken out just my nighttime medication, and I'm down to my morning only pills, and I can tell you I don't recall ever having such an amazing experience as far as, I mean, my body reacts the way that I want it to react. Um, and this is all part of several pieces. I believe that the medication is absolutely the biggest part. I didn't think it was going to make that big of a difference since I was only taking 1 milligram a day, but the timing was impeccable. I mean, it was really exactly when, once that half-life of what the medication, when it works, goes down. It just, I mean, it was incredible, how it lined up. I mean, the medication was the biggest thing. So I can tell you now, I mean, I have had, you know, 2 or 3 times a day on a regular basis been able to have sex, without having any issues at all, and I mean at all. It's incredible. It's an incredible feeling to know that you can do this, and there's nothing to think about. There's nothing to worry about. And of course, that brings me into the second thing, which is the performance anxiety. So performance anxiety, some girls don't really understand it, and think that they're just not attractive, or they're doing something wrong, or they're got something wrong with their man, um, whatever the case may be. But performance anxiety is a lot of times, well, it always gets worse if you continue to have the worst experience. So you'll always be thinking about the last time that you had an issue, and it'll make it worse for this time. So when you have something that's like medication that's causing this issue, it's going to make the performance anxiety. It makes it so you can't get up or stay up way worse. So if you can cut out the medication, and then you start noticing when you're actually working really well, and you see that turn around, it's a domino effect. It really just, I mean, it just starts, it makes it so you're not really having that anxiety when you go to lay down with a girl, instead of thinking, you know because when I would lay down with a girl and she'd start touching me or something, it was just like, instead of just thinking, all right, this is awesome, I can't wait to do this, this is gonna be fun, first thing I thought of was, oh shit, I hope this works. That's not what you're supposed to think. You're supposed to just have fun. You're supposed to do your thing and just enjoy yourself. And that stops now. So performance anxiety is a real thing. Whether you're a guy, you know that, um, or a girl, you need to understand it's probably not your fault. It's more than likely just an issue in the mind of the guy that you're with. And if he tells you that, believe him, hear him out, because he's having a hard time dealing with it. Not only for the fact that it's very frustrating, uh, mentally, to deal with that. You kind of feel like less of a man, but also, well, to feel like less of a man because also he can't please you. So obviously, it's very tough. Third thing I want to talk about is hypnotherapy. Now, if you want to chalk this up to being what's the biggest player in this, you can. I don't think it is. I think that it helped, but I don't think that. I think that all these pieces came together at the right time. But I did at the same time that I stopped taking the medication at night. I also at that same even that same day actually, same day I stopped taking the medication at night. I went to a hypnotherapist, and I'd gone to hypnotherapy before for this, but it didn't work. So I didn't feel like this was going to work at all, but this was a really good session. I was very, very pleased even before I even left the building, I was just like, wow, that just felt like that's what was supposed, what hypnotherapy is really supposed to be like. So I did do the hypnotherapy, and I definitely suggest that you take a look into it. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not, but I suggest you take a look into it and look and see if there's anybody near you that is actually a real a good hypnotherapist that has actually dealt with this particular issue before. I think that's really important. And then the last thing I want to talk about that's going to help you is stop watching porn. Just stop watching porn. Stop jerking off. I know it's even more frustrating. It's harder to do that when you can't when you know that you can't please your girl in that way, um, or you feel like you can't. Sometimes girls actually are satisfied with you, and you're just putting it all on yourself. But regardless, it's even harder to stop watching porn and just and masturbating because that's like that's your one time when you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about pleasing anybody. It's just at least getting the physical part of it out of the way, and maybe you can even give yourself a little boost of confidence because you are able to have an erection when you're by yourself watching porn, whatever it is. But I'm just telling you right now, it's not good. It's gonna be the death of you. It's gonna hurt you, and it's just not good for your mind anyway. So that's going to be a huge thing for you to overcome. If you do watch porn a lot, um, I suggest just stop watching porn altogether, and I think it'll help you. It'll be hard at first to push through that mental block, but I think it's important for you to do it. And again, it's just one of those things that all these things came together at the same time. I'm not going to put anything, uh, any one of those things as as the answer by itself. Maybe for you, one of those things is, um, but for me, I think that it probably had a little bit to do with everything. I honestly have no issues now. I really don't. I have no issues. It's been, a couple weeks, and a couple weeks has gone by without any issues at all, and it feels like a whole new world. It's a whole new confidence. It's a whole new me, I feel like. And again, first thing I would say is if you're on benzos, cut that dosage down if you can. Cut it down. If you're on benzos, or even if you're on antidepressants, any kind of medication, look up side effects that have to do with erectile dysfunction, and most likely it's there. I mean, a lot of medication does actually do that. So, whatever medication you're taking, if it's possible for you to cut down, just try. Okay. I hope that this video helps. Maybe at very least, if you feel like it's important that maybe your girl needs to hear this from somebody other than you, so that they believe you. Share it with them, and let them know that this is not it's not them, it's not the girl's fault. She's not. It's not like you're not attracted to her. It's you. It's something that you have to deal with on your own self. And I hope this video helps. I know I ramble a lot, but I don't know if it helps you. I'd appreciate a thumbs up. It'd be great, and try to get this out there for other people to help them out. Thanks, guys.